Hey everybody, it's Captain CA and I want to welcome you to Flats Class YouTube. This next clip is going to be the much anticipated walk around video of my 2019 Hells Bay Marquesa. So here we go. This is the 2019 Hells Bay Marquesa. This is the largest skiff in the Hells Bay product line. The reason I always pick this skiff is it's the best damn skiff they make. It does everything, and it does everything well. Here's why. It's 18'1". It's got an 80-inch beam. It still weighs about 750 pounds before I start putting all my stuff on it. So it's light. It rides high in the water, and it's dry. Has an integrated chine right here. That's the secret to why the boat is so dry. It's made from a space-age aeronautical material called a Negra. And they do a fantastic job, the guys over there that build this boat. One of the nice things about Hells Bay Boat Works is everyone that works for them has been working for them for a long time. So it's not their first rodeo. Okay, the color I chose this time was a white hull with a Bahama blue deck and cockpit. The reason why? Wanted to pay homage to the very first Hells Bay that they had there at Titusville, and the one that Flip had was a white hull with this blue on the deck. So I decided, hey, why not get a retro colored boat for a change? Now next, before I go through all the accoutrements on the boat, let's talk about the trailer from Ramlin. So my trailer is an aluminum I-beam trailer, but what's nice about the Ramlin product is the fact that everything, for the most part, is aluminum, but the cross members that run across this boat, they're stainless steel. I mean, this thing is built to last. I've got a torsion axle in here with oil-bathed bearings. I've got a walk board here so that I can dry launch the boat without getting my feet wet. You don't have to wade in the water like some of the competitors' boats. Trailer is really top notch. LED lights, you name it. This is the last trailer you'll ever buy. Now let's talk about some of the features of the boat. So I typically will always put a cleat on the bow of my boat. Because I'm a tarpon fisherman, I love the ability to have a quick release clip here and a ball so I can throw it off the boat. So it's always nice to have it there instead of tying it to a casting stand. This front compartment is awesome. There's tons of room. I have 4 life jackets and a throw. I keep my mooring lines up there, my towel. Believe it or not, this is my fuel gauge. Now, I get a lot of criticism about having a fuel gauge like that instead of one on my gauge. I can have one on my gauge, but guys, the US Navy uses this. They use the same thing. They use a story stick to find out. And those things are worth billions. All right, we have a 28-gallon fuel cell. One of the nice features you'll find about all the compartments that Hells Bay has is look how deep the channels are. These channels are deep. They evacuate water. We have big drains. Those drains spill into the bulkhead here and drain out the back of the boat. You'll see the drains right down here. The one nice quality about the Marquesa is it has a very deep cockpit. What does that mean? Well, A, it keeps you dry without water being in the boat all the time. 2, it gives you a lot more gunwale, a lot more wall space here to put rods. When you're tarpon fishing, you've got 8-foot rods with 8 and 10,000 series reels. These accommodate that quite easily. Coming back here to the helm next, I've got a cooler seat here, and the cooler seat is really nice. I mean, it's not a Yeti, but it does a great job. 1 10-pound bag of ice, you can put all the drinks that you need in there for a day's fishing and you're good to go. A lot of us use that as a dry box because it's so watertight and waterproof up there. You'll notice that I put a grab rail on my helm. I feel as if this is a nice feature for my clients to walk around the boat. What it's also nice for is clamping on cameras like GoPros and such. It's a really nice feature. It also protects my Sirius XM weather antenna that I have up here on my helm. Now, the helm itself, I'm right now in the midst of, you've typically seen most of my wheels. This is my steering wheel. You see them and they're paracord wrapped. Right now they're doing that for me. They sent a wheel away for me to get paracord wrapped. I always go with the tilt steering. I like tilt steering. It gives me a lot of latitude, whether I'm sitting down or standing up. I like it both ways. You'll notice that I put a 9-inch Raymarine Axiom Pro in the helm here, and instead of having it up top, I have it put right in the helm. I've got my power pole up downs right here. I can adjust the speed and whatnot there. I also have buttons on the platform, and we'll talk about that later. I have a nice switch panel here with all my accoutrements. I have electric Bennett trim tabs, and I have my digital binnacle here for my Evinrude E-Tech G2, and I have an Evinrude one gauge. This is the iCommand gauge that tells me everything I need to know about my engine. Here you'll notice, this is a cool little feature. Because we have so many cameras and phones, I have a USB charging port here, and this allows me to charge phones and cameras throughout the day. I have some nice little storage back in here that I keep all my, my batteries are in here, my breakers are in here, all my switches are in here. It's totally dry. You can see the undergunnel storage that I have on either side. Now let's talk about the rear deck and what I have here. One of the nice features about the rear deck is the fact that the hatches on the Marchesa, they open this way. That way you can be outside the boat and access anything inside. You don't have to climb inside your boat. A lot of the boats you see on the market, the lid's right here and you have to open this way because the hinge is along this point. By doing that, you have to reach around. Now, unless you're an NBA point guard height like me, you're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna have to get inside your boat. So this is a nice feature, something I really like. And there's tons of storage in here. I like to not utilize everything because I try to keep the boat light. But again, you'll notice the very deep channels and how everything is sealed. These are slam hatches. So once they're down, they don't come back up. Let's talk a little bit about this live well. All right, this is a 30-gallon live well, and I've been using it. I've actually included a bubbler in mine because I like to use crabs for tarpon season. That's a big live well for anybody, especially someone who owns an 18-foot skiff. You don't have to, you can use the lid like this when you're dumping a cast net out if you're putting pilchards or something like that in there. But once the bait's in there, there's no need to lift the whole thing up. I've put a plexiglass, easy little hatch here where I can dip the bait out and everything can stay nice and clean. This is excellent. I also have a light, cockpit lights. When I turn my cockpit lights on, I turn the light on in the live well, so even if I'm dock light fishing at night, hey, I can see the bait in there. I know how it's doing. You'll notice on most of the Hell's Bays, we have a big open zone in here. We don't get mildew. We have easy access to all of our pumps, our bilge, our live well pumps, our circulating pumps, all the valves. Everything's easy to get to and very clean when you really look at it. Let's talk a little bit about this polling platform. All right, my polling platform in the past has always been a little shorter because I've gone with a smaller engine. We're gonna get to that next, but I've got a lot bigger engine this year. So I went with a taller polling platform. Having the taller polling platform, I decided for tarpon season that I was gonna put this nice little backrest on it. Some of my friends call it a sissy bar. Some of them call it a walker. Some of them say I'm getting old. The fact is, I'm pretty doggone comfortable when it's blowing about 15 miles an hour on the beach and I'm looking for tarpon with the ability to lean up against that thing, so I'm loving it. Now the rest of the year I'm gonna take it off. And the way you do that is you've got these quick release pins right here that allow you to take this on and off whenever you want to, so you're not saddled to that backrest. Okay, while we're talking about the polling platform, if you take a quicker look, and we'll get a B-roll footage, there's two quick buttons up and down. Those are Bluetooth buttons. Those are up-down buttons for my power pole. Speaking of which, this year I got an 8-foot power pole. I've always had a 6-foot power pole in the past. This year I wanted to see if I could use it a little bit more on the beach without always having to use my anchor ball, because there's many days I'm in 4 to 6 feet of water and I've got a lot of wave action. So I went with a big gun. I went with the Power Pole Pro Series 2, and this is a rugged piece of equipment here, and they've built it to be able to withstand some seas. So this has been a great addition to the boat and hasn't added any weight. I think it was 6 extra pounds. That's it. All right, let's talk about my transducer before we get to the engine. Many of you see these long transducers for Raymarine and the other brands that do side vision and down vision. They're big chirp transducers for electronics. Guess what they do? They rooster tail, and they create a vortex back here, and the water gets everyone's back wet. The guys in the shop at Hells Bay, when I told them about this, decided to fabricate this little baby for me in the shop. And what it does is it takes all the spray from the rooster tail and knocks it down. So when that water breaks around here, it gets caught up in here and sprays down. So this has been a nice little invention, if you will, by the guys over there in the shop, and has done a good job for me. I love it. Before we get to the engine, one more propulsion tool. This is a 24-foot, 6-inch push pole. This is from Carbon Marine, and this is super light. The whole thing weighs under 5 pounds. It's super strong, and when you're pulling the deeper waters on the beach this time of the year, it's really nice to have. So they gave me max length, and the customer service that you get out of the guys over there at Carbon Marine, it's second to none. Those guys will drive. They drove this push pole out to me on the water. It doesn't get any better than that. So here's the big secret. This engine here has been on the back of my boat for the last, 6 weeks. But just today, they released it to the public to let everyone know that we are now carrying Evinrude G2 in the 115 and 140 platform. Because they're the same weight, nothing's changed. It's just a mapping issue. I opted for the 140 naturally. Now, you might say, what's the whole shot with a 140? Well, remember those grab rails I was showing you on my Helm? They're needed. You better hold on, because you'll roll out of the back of this boat. I'm telling you right now, the boat jumps up in less than half a boat length. It's on the pad and running. In fact, after you get about 50 yards in it, you're not even running on the pad anymore. You're running on the bullet of this engine. So, I mean, this is a bad boy motor. By myself, half a tank of fuel, no backrest, none of my stuff in the boat, just rolling, wide open throttle, 57 miles an hour. This thing is like driving a muscle car. It's a lot of fun. I might have had to give up maybe an inch of draft on the boat, but that really doesn't equate to much. It depends on who's standing on the front of the boat. If I got 2 big guys, I'm really giving up nothing. If I got 1 guy, I give up an inch of draft. But where I fish and what I do, really nice. Can't wait to get this new Evinrude G2 140 out to Louisiana, where those 45-minute rides down the river delta are gonna be about 25 minutes now. It's gonna be pretty nice. So, I don't know what you guys think of the boat. I try to keep it really simple, but let me tell you, of all the Marquesas I've owned in the last 9 years, this is my favorite. And the reason why is the people at Hells Bay, they do an exemplary job, not only in the shop building your skiffs, but in the community, in the fishing community. A big reason that I'm a Hells Bay ambassador is the fact they do things. They do things that's important to all fishermen, whether they own Hells Bays or not. They're a part of CCA. They're a part of Captains for Clean Water, a big part of Captains for Clean Water, and at the tip of the spear of the clean water issues. They helped the guides in the Florida Keys during Irma. They're part of the Herman Lucerne. They've been supporters of the IGFA and the Guy Harvey Ocean Conservancy. BTT Hell's Bay puts their money where their mouth is, and they do the right thing. They've always done the right thing. They're a legacy brand, and those in the owners group understand the value of these boats are held very high. You own one of these boats for 5 years, probably not going to depreciate very much. You own it for 10 years, you will be shocked what you can get out of it. So they build boats to last, just not for aesthetics. They build boats that work, they're functional, and quite honestly, they're valuable. Everyone wants one. Hope you enjoyed my walkthrough of my 2019 Hells Bay Marquesa. That's it for Captain CA, signing off. Thanks, guys.